Good morning. This is Liz Head, EC Head Training Workshops. I want to talk to you today about that $100,000 we always hear about in our Facebook groups. Earning that $100,000. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can make that happen for you. So these are just some suggestions, of course, examples. So my purpose as a signing agent trainer is to help you get to that $100,000 that you think you want. But and my primary thing is to bring value to the signing agents through education and continuing to mentor. Right now is to those who attend my workshops. Now, make some money while adding value. That's what I also do. I make money. That's why I train. That's why I do loan signings, is because it's income for me. I love doing the YouTube videos. Well, actually, my daughter makes me do the YouTube videos. She's my social media person, so she makes me do them. So anyway, I want to add value through the YouTube videos to the notary community at large. My mentoring is restricted to those who've taken my classes through the first quarter of 2021, and then I'm looking to expand that. But the reason I do just the mentoring just for people I've trained is because I need to have a sense of the baseline, their learning baseline. So that's why I'm doing that, and I'm trying to develop something that will allow me to expand that. But anyway, with that being said, I've outlined 4 steps to earning your $100,000. Now, your path to reach this $100,000 that I'm dealing with is loan signings. But in order to do that, you've got to consistently do an average of $500 a day for 20 days a month. Then that's going to give you $10,000 a month. Well, 10,000 times 12 equals $120,000 annually. Now, how do you get to an average of $500 a day? Number one, you're going to get trained. You're going to get trained whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're going to formal training classes, so forth and so on. But you definitely need to know what you're doing when you step out there to make your $100,000. And when you do step out there, you're going to step out there like you mean business. You're out there to go get your money. So go get your money. How do you do it? You set a baseline. Have a plan. You want to make it realistic. You have to have a realistic plan and know what the goals for reaching that $100,000 look like. Set a benchmark. For instance, I'm going to give you a benchmark with 3-month intervals. 3-month intervals. You look to attain that first 3 months. You get to that, then you're going to move your goalpost to another 3 months and another 3 months, so forth and so on. But I'm going to show you. And again, have a baseline. So the 4 simple steps: get training, as I said. I want everybody in my class, but because I think we're good, but it may not be for everybody. My training style may not be right for you. So you go to my website, you get a sense about who I am, what we do, look at some other videos, and pretty much what you see on the videos is pretty much the way we train. But you watch other videos as well. And then you figure out who is the right fit for you, for your learning. Find out who's the right fit for you. And if you think my classes are the right fit for you, then come on over and let me educate you on the documents and how to get hired, so forth and so on. So you can go work towards getting that $100,000, or you do it yourself. You teach yourself. If you've got nothing but time, you can definitely train yourself. I do have a do-it-yourself video out here, how you can train yourself, the steps that you need to take to train yourself. But for this, we got step 2. Like I said, you step out there like you mean business. You're going to exhibit confidence. You've got to show confidence. You know, watch the way you walk into a room. You walk into a room with your shoulders back. You know, you walk in there standing tall. Watch the expression that you have on your face. Even though you're wearing a mask these days, I pray, I hope. You know, people can see a smile. You can still see a smile through that mask or around that mask. So that's what you're going to do. You make eye contact. You're going to, you know, you're in control of that signing. Even though you may be in the signer's home, you are still going to take control of that signing. I even tell them where I want them to sit. And believe it or not, nobody has ever fought me on that. So you're going to direct them where they need to sit for the ease of the paper flow. And I basically do that based on who the first signer is. I want them to sign first, pass it over to the second signer, and then we go from there. But have your supplies organized. You know, get yourself a carrying case so that everything is organized, so that you're not searching for your stamp. You're not searching for your pens. You know, you've got everything at your fingertips. So get yourself organized. Training, organization, attention to detail, all of these things are highly critical in doing this business proficiently. Okay, step 3. How do you do it? How do you get to that? How to, you know, we often say, well, you can do it. You can do it. Just go do it. But oftentimes we may not say, you know, take this step, take that step. Well, your goal, you're going to know your goal. And then you're going to know, you're going to have your steps in there for reaching your goal. You got to have steps. It's not like you can look at your end goal and start there. You've got to start. Think about the journey to your goal and what's going to happen, what you're going to do to get to that goal. What does your journey look like? So, and then step 4, know what it takes to reach that $100,000. People tell you, oh yeah, you can make $100,000, and you can, but you got to work for it. You know, so it's okay to be a little bit fearful in the beginning when you start this. I know I was. You know, we have different fears, but there's still fears that will come into play anytime you're doing something new. So if you're not a little bit uncomfortable, you've heard me say that before, if you're not a little uncomfortable from time to time, you're not growing. So embrace that fear. And you have just enough to be cautious, but not so much that it paralyzes you. And when you get scared, when you get scared, remember why you started doing this business in the first place. You want to make some money, plain and simple, plain and simple. You're not doing it for your health. Well, you know, I don't know, you might be, but you're not doing it. It's not your hobby, in other words. This is not your hobby. Most times it's not your hobby. It's not my hobby. I do this for income. I do this for income in my household. So I've just given an example of how to benchmark yourself. Possibility for benchmarking yourself. Instead of saying, I'm going to make $100,000 this year, or let's plan it out. And especially if you're brand new, let's work up to that $100,000. You may not quite make that $100,000 in your first year, although you could. With the amount of business that's out there right now, you could certainly start out and make that kind of money. But you got to make sure that you're ready. So start small while you're thinking big. You're thinking your goal is at 100,000. But you're going to start small so you don't get discouraged. Because if you say that first month you're going to make $5,000 and then you don't make $5,000 that month, then that could crush you. So let's start small. For the first 3 months, say you're going to make $2,000. Okay, that's your benchmark. Well, if you make 5, that's good. But don't move your benchmark just yet, because you want to make that consistently. So then the second 3 months, you're looking to do $3,000 a month. Again, if you make 5, don't move your benchmark. Make sure you're making that amount for at least 3 months. Third month, set your goal for 4,000. If you make 5,000, do not move your benchmark. Know that you're making $4,000. You've reached your goal of $4,000. You want to do it consistently for 3 months. Fourth month, third month, the fourth 3 months, I should say. Move your benchmark to 7,000 a month. If you make 8, don't move your benchmark for 3 months. You're still at 7. Then the next 3 months, you say 8,000. If you make 8,000, if you make 9,000 that month, do not move your benchmark until you have made 8,000 consistently for 3 months. The sixth step, or the sixth 3 months, okay, you're at it. Your goal is $10,000 a month because you've hit all of those benchmarks. You're at $10,000. Now, so you're at $100,000, $120,000 or more. If you extrapolate that, that's what you want your earnings to be. So now, wow, you want to make $100,000 continuously. So your benchmark, is $10,000 a month. You've got to make $10,000 a month, and you've exceeded the 100,000 because you're at 120,000. But you will note, this is not a 12-month plan because I did it in 3-month intervals. So it's 18 months. So if you're brand new and you're starting out and it takes you 18 months instead of 12 months for that first year to reach that $100,000, you're still good. Excuse me, you're still good, right? So set yourself benchmarks. And if these are too low for you, it's okay. This is just a sample. It's just a sample. You can plug in anything you want in those spots for your goal, how much you want to make. Hell, you can start at 5,000. You can say your goal is 5,000 for the first 3 months. But then just make sure when you set that benchmark, you got to make sure it's realistic. And if you can go make that $5,000 in your first three months, good. Then you just move it to say 7,000 for the next month, 8,000, so forth and so on. Just recommendations, you guys, because the one thing you don't want to do is jump out there and do everything and burn yourself out. So how many assignments to get to that $100,000 or whatever? So let's just say that first month, and I'm using $100 as an average because some of them will be 100, some of them will be 90, some of them will be 110. So I just averaged $100 per signing, which is about what we're getting now. Yeah, you do have some low balls, and every once in a while, if you're just starting, there's nothing wrong with you taking some lowball assignments or what's considered lowball assignments because you need to get some signings under your belt. So if you're sitting there waiting for the phone to ring for that $150,000 and what you're getting are signings that are $75, $85, well, consider maybe you want to take that just to get the experience if for no other reason. So that first month, if you're doing $100 per signing and you get 8 signings, you got $800. The second month, $100, but you do 16. And the third month, you do 24, so you got $2,400, making adjustments for your highs and your lows. So just count it like that as you're working towards your goal, okay? Now, where will the initial business come from? And this primarily is for the newbies. My recommendation is that all new notaries start with SnapDocs. Yeah, you hear all the bad stuff about SnapDocs, but it's a place to start and it's not going to cost you any money to be on that platform. Now, it's free. And SnapDocs is used for hiring companies to push out signings to us, the signing agents. And there's no charge for signing agents to use the platform. Now, you get a list of companies and you sign up. People always say do 100 companies, and you can find lists in several Facebook groups. Check that file section. You can also find a list on 123 Notary, and of course I provide a list in my training workshops. So remember, this is a numbers game. The more companies you sign up with, the more opportunities you're going to have to get business. But when your phone rings or that text message comes in, you got to answer the phone. So many times people say, well, Liz, I called, but nobody answered the phone. You've got to answer the phone. You've got to respond to your text messages. You just have to do that. So when SnapDocs is going to send you a text message, the other thing is it's not like anybody's going to leave you a message if they call you. They call, they don't get you, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to move on. But keep in mind that text message is sent to a whole bunch of people at the same time. Typically, the assignments will go real fast. And they say the way it's set up is that it's going to go to the first person who responds. I know that that is not necessarily true. Most of the signing services have a category that they put people in, a favorite category that they will put their most used notaries in. That text message is going to go out to them first. They may wait a minute or two before they move down the list to see who else has responded. But you've got to respond quickly because it's almost instantaneously. And if you don't get it, don't fret about it. There'll be another one. If you have a lock on your phone, you may want to take that lock off because every second counts. And if you have a flip phone, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work on flip phone. But every second counts when you're trying to get that, when you're responding to that text message. So if you have that lock on for privacy, then of course you just consider getting another phone that you will use exclusively for your business. Stay positive and focused. If you don't get it, like I said, don't get discouraged. Can't say it enough. This is a numbers game. Now, what do you do with a missed opportunity? You capture the name of the hiring company because the name of the company is going to come through on that text message. You capture that. Then you Google to obtain their contact information. You get in touch with them and you tell them hey, I missed that assignment, but I really want to work for you. So you're going to be bold and you're going to ask for what you want. You got to ask for what you want. And then you're going to tell them why they should hire you for that next assignment. You'd be amazed at how often that works. Okay. So when you get that order, when you get it, you're going to perform like a pro. You are the smartest person in the room. And if you don't feel it, act like it anyway. And then you got that assignment, you've gone, you finished it, you did it to perfection, and now you're returning that package. You're going to put a thank you card in that package. The package that you're returning, you're sending a thank you card. And then you're going to ask for more business. Ask for more business, because if you don't, they may very well forget about you. And then have a little marketing thing, a little marketing email. Let's say that you haven't seen anything come through for a particular company for a while. You reach out to them and find out why. Okay, if they didn't like something that you did, you ask, how can I improve? What can I do to make it better? You always want to look to do better. I'll give you an example. When I started doing this business in 2015 up to last year, BNN Services was my top company. Well, last year, I'm looking at my money coming in. My money was the same or more, but I'm looking where it's coming from. And the amount of money I was getting from BNN had fallen off drastically. I picked up the phone and say, hey, look, Why am I not getting business from being in? David said, well, Liz, it's not us, it's you. You're not available. Well, I wasn't available because I was taking other appointments, because it's not like I'm going to sit and wait for that particular company to come through. Or actually, that's not what I did last year before. Now, pretty much, I have drilled it down to about 5 companies, only 5 companies that I work with. So then, yes, I am waiting. You could say lady in waiting, because I'm not taking on any new business. So those come through, I get hits for those companies, or they will call me direct, then I'm doing the work for them. And now, of course, I don't have 15, 20 different checks coming in every month. Although I could deposit those 15, 20 checks, I also don't have 15, 20 1099s coming in that I got to organize for my taxes. So I work for about 5 companies now. Occasionally a new one will call me, and if they appear to be desperate, then I go to my list of someone who's been in my training group, and I refer them. I refer them to that company. But you've got to ask for the business. You've got to ask for the business. You've got to invest in yourself. Becoming a notary signing agent is a low startup cost. It's a low startup cost. Your $100,000, however, is not going to just magically appear. You have to put in the work. To be successful, you've got to spend some money, and more importantly, you've got to spend some time. You've got to make sure you've got your foundation done. You know, your foundation is done for how you want to do this business. Spend the time learning. You have to research the industry. Make sure it's a right fit for you. Because sometimes the things that you have to do for that $100,000, you may not be willing to do it. For instance, I'm not looking to do $100,000. My bar is very, very low for what my needs are, because I am retired. But but even in retirement, I have my bar for what I want to make every month. I started this job, I needed $500 a month just for the little extra stuff. Now, inflation, it's about $750, but I set my goal for $2,500 a month. If I make $2,500 a month, I slow down, because that gives me enough to cover my little expenses, put a little bit in my business account, put a little bit in my savings, and I'm good. I'm good with $2,500. I also pay myself once a month on the 15th or the 16th. But research, you got to research this industry to make sure it's a right fit for you. Understand what it really takes. It is more about signing your name and stamping a document. Reading is fundamental in this business. You must read instructions. And then you must also continue to learn, because this industry changes very quickly. You must get training, and I don't mean relying on Facebook to answer your questions. There's a great deal of training available, some free, some paid. Invest in yourself. But if you don't want to pay for training, spend the time on the front end training yourself. Go to my do-it-yourself. I tell you where to go to get the information to train yourself. So make sure you're sourcing the information that you get. Okay? So do you want to reach that goal of $100,000 one time just so you can say you did it? Or do you want to continuously reach that $100,000 on an annual basis? So once you reach that $100,000, can you put your business on autopilot? No, you can't. This is not an autopilot kind of business. You've got to keep learning, because the industry changes. So I like to say you got to move with the cheese. You got to move with the cheese. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I am going to do a little series on who moved my cheese. And that's one of my favorite books from like 30, 40 years ago by Blanchard. So I've done an adaptation of that book, but instead of the two little people and the two little mice, I've called them Notary 1, 2, 3, and 4. I hope it'll be fun. But anyway, who moved? You got to move with the cheese. You can't get comfortable. You can't take off your running shoes and get comfortable because you've reached your $100,000. So you've got to keep moving. You got to keep moving with the industry. This industry is very cyclical. You got to plan for the downtime. One might ask, well, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to tell you how to do that. When I say I'm going to tell you, keep in mind, I ain't trying to tell you what to do. I'm just giving you some suggestions. But make sure you have a savings plan. Don't spend that $100,000 as quickly as you make it. Make some wise financial decisions for yourself and your family. You're going to want to put some money aside for those downtime. And you're also going to have to diversify and make sure that you're doing something other than loan signings. You can do a whole lot of stuff with that notary. You can do a whole lot of stuff, whole lot of side gigs. So relationships, even when that business is down, people are still buying and selling homes. That's why it's important that you build a lasting relationship. You're going to be the best that you can be every single day, which means you know what you're doing when you sit down in front of these people. And that means they're going to keep calling you back because you know what you're doing. In addition to that, I've also mentioned time and time again, we make mistakes. We're dealing with so much paper that we are bound to make a mistake periodically. Again, I do not make a lot of mistakes, but when I do, I own it, I apologize, I fix it, and I fix it quickly. People will appreciate that because chances are where you've just gotten that signing from, somewhere along the line, they too have made a mistake. It's human to make a mistake, but it's how we correct the mistakes is what's important. So after this feast is over, that we're in a feast right now, guys. We're in a feast. Those who have consistently produced good, solid work, these people are going to continue to call you. It's as simple as that. You're going to be at the top of that list. So if you have performed your duties consistently with integrity and proficiency, if you have done those things, they're going to keep calling you. You want to keep your name in front of them. You're going to market even in the best of times. You know, that business is coming in so hot and heavy. It's like, who's got time to sit down and write a card? You do. You do. Write that card or keep those little cards right next to you. And when you're putting that package in the envelope to return it, stick that card in there. Just stick that card right on in there. Say, thank you for your business. I'm here for you. Just something to keep them going. In addition, use that notary commission to diversify. I mentioned earlier, do some general notary work. Don't wait until the feast is over to include general notary work because you want to have also built up the general notary business as well. I'm not saying that your focus should be, it's like, what do I do? Do I do general notary work? Do I do loan closings? How do you balance that? You decide that. Maybe just do a couple general notary here and there. Keep your name out there. And if your niche is going to be loan signing, oftentimes people will just stick with general notary and they will do a loan signing every once in a while. So you decide what works best for you. General notary work, you don't have all that paper to contend with. You go do a little notary and, you're in and out in 5 minutes. You can make $60, $50, $60. Whereas you do a loan signing, it's going to be $100, but you've had to print 200 pages twice. And you got to sit in front of somebody for a half an hour to an hour to get those documents signed. So weigh your options. What's going to work for you? You know, what's going to be your primary? And then, of course, there are all other kinds. There are a lot of different things that you can do as a notary, as additional side gigs, which we deal with in some videos that we've done from some of our Wednesday night presenters. So do check that out. But just keep in mind, folks, we're in a feast. I estimate it's going to last for at least another year, maybe 2 years. Now, suggestions to stay in touch. I've mentioned, drop a thank you card. Every once in a while, even if you're not sending a package back, you don't have a package from them, send a card anyway. You know, send a little Starbucks gift card periodically. Send a hello email. Don't wait until the major holidays, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. There's one in there I missed. What is it? New Year's, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. I don't know what that other major one is. But anyway, send a card just because. Unexpected cards make me smile. When you're not expecting to get a card from somebody, and it just brightens my day. So if you can brighten someone's day unexpectedly, they have been fully dressed for the day because they're now wearing a smile. What do you think about that? All right, so call us today to get some training. We're here for you. If you need us, we're here for you. Then also, I want to just invite you to visit my website. Of course, it's there on the screen for you. Well, it was on the screen for you. And just check out our training, check out who we are, what we do. And then I'm told to tell you, go to, on this YouTube thing, go like, share, subscribe. And one of these days, we're going to put it at the bottom. So you just have to click it there. Ain't that cool? So I hope this has been some value added for those of you who are looking to make that $100,000. Just a few little tips to help you on your journey. So I want to see you go make that $100,000. Go get it. Go get your money. Y'all have a great day, and thank you so much.